What's going on, everyone? Philly Insider, got Hunter here, Drew with me. What a game. I mean, that's one you're going to remember for a long time. Bryce Harper hits three home runs tonight, 6 RBIs, and caps it off with the grand slam. Wow. I mean, that was incredible to see him do what he did tonight, coming in hitless to this game, and he ends up with over 1,000 OPS after just one game. So you love to see that, Drew. A lot of people were doubting him. We're going to get into everything. There were multiple notable performances in this one, but how you feeling after that big win?
Yeah, I mean, feeling pretty good. I'm not gonna be lying. I mean, I fell asleep after the second Bryce home run, but I was awake for the grand slam. I just woke up and turned it back on, and that happened. So that was really cool. But I don't think I missed much in between there.
Yeah, honestly, it was mostly a pitcher's duel early on, and I do want to talk about that a little bit, but wow, what a night from Bryce Harper, man. I mean, the first one, he just absolutely crushes, gets a sinker around 96, 97, and just takes it opposite field over the wall that juts out in the left center field. The second one, he gets a slider, just line drive, bullet to right field, I believe it was, just crushes it too. I mean, that was fast off the bat. And then the last one goes down, kind of golfs it out, but just a great piece of hitting at the same time too. And good job by the Phillies getting some runners on for him that time too, because up until that point, there was not a lot of guys on base, and you're thinking, oh gosh, here we go, a repeat of last night where we had a couple runs early, and Bryce was our only source of offense tonight at first with 2 solo home runs, and you're thinking, great, we're not going to get any insurance, and the bullpen's already gassed, and this could be a real issue. But Bryce does his job tonight. I mean, he more than does his job. People were doubting him coming into the game. A lot of talk about that. Just silly. I mean, there was really no reason for that with what he showed us in the past, and he comes out and does that tonight. I don't really have much else to say on him, man. I mean, he was just spectacular in this one.
Yeah, I mean that's Bryce being Bryce, honestly. I mean, anybody that was doubting him after 4 games, I mean, you just got to chill out a little bit. I mean, he's Bryce Harper. He's gonna come and he's gonna do his thing pretty much on a nightly basis. You just got to give him a little bit of time to get going. I mean, he had that rough end of the spring training because of the back injury and stuff. So I think he was just a little bit cold coming out of the gates. And I mean, I think he shook off the rust tonight. That was a crazy performance. But speaking of crazy performances, Spencer Turnbull was phenomenal tonight. I mean, he was so good, just all through the strike zone, and yeah, he looked really good.
Yeah, I think he had like a 67% strike percentage, which isn't insane, but it's certainly very good. And I felt like he attacked the strike zone and got ahead early. It was just the balls were probably mostly from him. Once he got ahead, he did work around guys a little bit. But overall, I felt like he was ahead in the count and attacked early on in the count too. Even when he didn't throw a first pitch strike, I felt like he bounced back very quickly and threw the next pitch and got it 1-1. So that's the biggest thing with him is I just want him to throw strikes. And the velocity is still a little bit down from what it was before Tommy John. Obviously, that's going to be the case a good bit of the time, but I think he can get it up a little bit as the year goes on and he gets comfortable. And I thought he looked like a very formidable number 5 tonight. And that's not a bad Reds lineup. I mean, it's not a great lineup, but it's certainly not bad by any means. And I was impressed with what he did tonight. I think a number of his pitches played well. I think that sinker looks pretty solid right now. The sweeper is obviously a good pitch. Looks like he kind of falls off left to the mound, which I don't know if that's anything to really monitor. That's just kind of my observation as a fan. It feels like he's kind of pulling when he's missing. It feels like he's kind of pulling it outside, specifically against righties. Obviously, lefties a little bit of a different story, but I don't know. Something to watch mechanically throughout the year. I'm not a pitching coach, so they might be fine with the way he's doing that. And I'd rather him obviously miss there than in the zone. So I thought he also painted a couple times. There were times where he missed in the zone and got away with it, but overall, I thought that he was really good. And I was very, very impressed with him in his first start. I was kind of expecting him to pitch well in his first start, but I didn't expect him to go the full 5, given that he was on a pitch count limit at 80, 85-ish, and pitched that well with 7 strikeouts. And he only gave up a few hits, and the 1 run was unearned too. So I didn't expect him to be that good, but he was awesome tonight. I mean, he absolutely dealt.
Yeah, and like you said, 2-to-1 strike to ball ratio. That's pretty good considering the conditions as well. I mean, it was a tough night for any pitcher, but
Yep.
Yeah, and the Reds lineup was red hot coming into this series. I mean, I think they had the best slugging percentage in the NL coming into this, or maybe in Major League Baseball. So, I mean, to cool them down here tonight, that's just massive going into tomorrow, especially. I think we got Wheeler on the mound tomorrow, so he's going to neutralize him either way, more than likely. But I mean, anytime you can slow him down for Wheeler, that's always a plus.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it was really nice tonight. On top of that, you set up the rubber match for tomorrow, too, with the win tonight. After you lost a very winnable game last night, you come back and win this one in a big way. Obviously, it was close for most of the game, but you pull away, put this one away, and you set up that rubber match tomorrow so that you have a shot to get your first series win of the year with your ace on the mound. That's the biggest thing. But kind of going back to the pitching, I mean, Turnbull was great tonight. I also want to talk about Ricardo Pinto. I mean, he ate all the 4 innings after that. I thought he was going to go 2, maybe 3, like pitch into that 3rd inning he was going into. He was incredible, man. I mean, he really only has throws a slider too, which it was fine, but the sinker and the splitter really stuck out to me. I thought they tunneled well off of each other. I don't know the advanced stats on that, but just from my eye test, it looked like those 2 pitches were tunneling very well. I thought the splitter was really nasty. He didn't have that back when he was with the team in 2017, and he looked completely different. I had only seen him since back when he was in 2017. I didn't really watch him in the Caribbean series or since then, honestly. So to see that, and I didn't even watch him in spring, to be quite honest. So to see what he did tonight, I was pleasantly surprised. I loved what he did. And he gave up, I think, 4 or 5 hits, and all of them came in the 3rd and 4th innings he threw. I think 3 of them came in the 4th. So obviously by then, he's probably a little bit gassed. He threw 70 plus pitches tonight. I mean, I think people were expecting him to maybe pitch because they needed to save the bullpen. He saved that bullpen for tomorrow. I mean, not only do you save the guys who pitched yesterday, but you saved the guys who pitched 2 days ago in Soto and Sir Anthony as well. So you're going to have a fresh bullpen tomorrow for a rubber match and an opportunity to get a series win because of a guy like Ricardo Pinto. That can't be understated enough. Not just how well he pitched, but how well it sets up this team for this next matchup and for the off day too.
Yeah, I was just about to talk about that because I mean, you got the rubber match tomorrow, and then you have the off day, so it's all hands on deck tomorrow, and that's super huge because being down bullpen guys this early in the season, it's terrible because I mean the starters, they're not all built up fully, and if they're a little bit inefficient, you're only going to be getting 4, maybe 5 innings out of them. So it's definitely going to be huge. I mean, Wheeler should be pretty much maxed out on pitch count tomorrow. I don't think he's going to be on a limit, but it's definitely great to have everybody ready for tomorrow for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and talk about the difference from the 10th inning last night to then the guy you have brought in today. I mean, that's the guy who's taking his roster spot too. So, look, I do feel bad for Connor Brogdon on a human level. It seems like his confidence is just shot after a couple years ago. He was a key bullpen depth piece to that World Series team, not winning team, but point being, just the fall he's had. I didn't expect him to be anything crazy, but I thought he'd be depth at least for the next couple of years. And he has taken a really hard fall from that. I would expect him to clear waivers and go to AAA. I hope he figures it out. Maybe a change of scenery would be best for him down the road. But regardless, you have the guy who comes into his spot tonight, literally his spot on the roster. And I think Bryce, I don't know if Bryce was fully joking. I think he might have been serious that he got there tonight. And he pitches like that. That's incredible. I mean, that is so difficult to do that. I think I would just be like, just get me in a hotel and get me to bed, honestly. But he comes in and does that for his team. That's why he's in the big leagues and I'm not. But I mean, that's awesome to see what he did tonight. But I also want to talk about the rest of the lineup too. I mean, I felt like tonight there was a lot less strikeouts. Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought they made contact a good bit of the time. And maybe part of that is that the pitching was a little bit off because of the rain and everything. It was tough conditions to pitch in. Yeah, only 6 strikeouts tonight. And you had 2 of them from Turner, 1 of them from Casty, 1 of them from Rojas. Stubbs went down on 3 pitches, typical. But
one of Turner's strikeouts was that awful strike 3 call on that down and away slider.
Yeah, I will say on that one, he did kind of get away with the ball call right before that. So I guess it was maybe a makeup call.
Well, he got hosed on one of the first 2 pitches in the at-bat, though.
Yeah.
And then he got that makeup call, and then he got hosed again.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm a little bit less lenient on Trey, I guess you could say. I'm just expecting him to go up there and put up a better at bat, regardless of the strike ball calls. But he's been better, though. I mean, the last couple of games, I think he's been swinging the bat well. He's made some good contact, too. Had a nice single today. He comes around and scored twice as well. One of them, because of an error that was made in the field. Ellie De La Cruz was horrific in the field tonight. I mean, he's going to be a great player, but a couple of really odd plays there. The flip of the glove, I didn't understand that at all. He had plenty of time to get that out of his glove and throw it to second base. The one to first base should have been caught, but still you want to throw that to where you're not pulling your first baseman off the bag. And the last one was that was just awful. You can't do that. So yeah, he had a rough night, but we definitely benefited from the rough defense from the Reds. But as far as Turner goes, I mean, again, I thought he was good. I think Schwarber, he goes 1 for 5 tonight, but I felt like every at bat was pretty much quality at bat. Like I feel like the top of the order has been better lately. Obviously, Harper tonight too, but Schwarber I think has looked so good so far. Like I have not had really any complaints about him, to be honest, and I think he's mostly been doing his job. Even the outs have been pretty well hit. It's just, for the people who complain about average, this is the result. You're going to get more singles, but you're going to get less bombs. So I'm sure that's going to change as the season goes on. But in this small sample size, I hope the Schwarber fans, it's crazy to me. Like they're complaining about the average, and then as soon as the average ticks up, they're complaining, well, the power's not there enough. The OPS isn't high enough. Like, yeah, this is what you get. This is the result that happens. But I love what Schwarber's doing so far, regardless.
Yeah, he's gonna. I mean, the home runs are gonna come. He might not hit 50 like he has the last 2 years, but I mean, it's still gonna be at least 35 home runs, if he's not selling out for power like he was the last couple of years. But I mean, I think I would trade that honestly if you're gonna give me a 250 average and hit 35 bombs out of the leadoff spot. That's pretty good because he's gonna be getting on base about like his on base is gonna be about 100 points higher than his average. So I mean, that's definitely gonna be what he's going to do this year.
Yeah, sorry, I'm still listening. Sixers game is coming down to the wire here, but
is it?
Yeah, but we were to talk about the Phillies though. No, I agree with you. And other things on the lineup too, like Bohm had an opportunity to get a run in, infield was in, didn't elevate the ball, hit it right to Ellie De La Cruz. Didn't love that. I was a little disappointed there in him, but he's been solid to start the season. I'm not going to complain about his 0 for 4 tonight. I felt like he still hit the ball hard. He always does, but that was a little annoying there. Stott, even though he went 0 for 3, he had the walk. He now has 3 walks, and I think someone tweeted out he only had 39 all last season. That was something we talked about in the offseason. We wanted to see Stott get better at was just walking a little bit more. And it's not that he doesn't have the ability to do that. It's just needed to see a little bit more this year. And I thought every ball he got kind of robbed. He hit one right to the right field in the second at bat. I felt like he hit the ball well tonight, and good base running from him too, running that ball out, and then he goes first to third on the throw behind him. So love to see that. And yeah, I mean, Castellanos unfortunately just still looks absolutely lost to the plate. I don't. Before we'll get to the bottom of the lineup too, but I kind of want to get your thoughts on those 3 guys as well. I mean, it looks like Castellanos even in 2022 looked better than he has to start this year. Like he was not good in 2022, but it was never as bad as it is right now with him just completely guessing up there.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. He's totally lost. I don't even think he knows what he's doing. I mean, he hasn't looked any different today than he did 3 days ago. I mean,
no.
He's making no adjustments at all so far, and it's not fun to watch. That's for sure. I mean, he's like a black hole right in the middle of the lineup. I mean, you want to be bridging between Stott and Bohm, and then getting it to the back of the lineup and still being productive. I mean, he's just making uncompetitive at bats. I mean, he's been terrible. But I mean, going on a little better note, I mean, Bohm, he hit that ball right back to the box, which probably would have been a single, and the pitcher robbed it. So, I mean, Bohm's been really good so far. There's no complaints.
That was 100+ miles an hour off the bat. So
good play by the pitcher, honestly. Yeah, but Stott, I mean, what you're getting out of Stott at this point. I mean, like you said, if he can walk a little bit more, that's just a big step in him becoming a more complete hitter and being an all-star.
Absolutely, yeah. And thoughts on the bottom of the lineup too, with Marsh being the highlight obviously there, but then Rojas and Stubbs as well.
Yeah, Stubbs, I mean, it's going to be what it's going to be with him at this point.
He is what it is.
He only plays once a week, maybe. I mean, if that. And Rojas, I mean, I don't even know at this point. It's been absolutely terrible for him, if we're being honest. I don't think. Yeah, he has no hits. He has 0 average, so that's not great. But Marsh, I mean, he's playing his way into being an everyday player at this point. He's trying to earn himself that spot.
Definitely. Marsh looked really good tonight. And I thought he looked good last night, even against a lefty too. Like he had some good ABs. Obviously, against someone of a lesser caliber than like a Chris Sale, it was a good time to start him, I think. And I think he played well last night too. I think he's had such a good start to the season, honestly. I mean, obviously, he's got the highest batting average on the team right now, I think. But it feels like every time he goes up there, you're getting a more professional at bat. And I feel like every time he's gone up there, like progressively since he's been traded to the Phillies, every at bat has almost been better. Obviously, there's been hot streaks and slumps here and there, but I don't know. I just feel like he's becoming such a a smarter hitter with each game. And it's so cool to see what he was when he got here to what he's become. And I keep saying that, but it's because he keeps proving everyone wrong. And not that Phillies fans are doubting him, but every critique he has of him, he just goes out there and tries to improve upon it every single day. So, and he comes around to score both times too. That's the most important stat, is that he's not only getting on base, but he's coming around to score every single time. So yeah, only the home run tonight for extra base hits. Well, not only home run, but yeah, he gets the home run, but he also gets the 2 singles as well and comes around to score one of those. So, yeah, opposite field home runs, both of them so far for him. The 2 home runs he's had, that's really good to see. I love what he's doing so far. Marshall's been awesome. But as far as Rojas goes, yeah, I mean, it just kind of feels inevitable him getting sent down to the minors at this point. Like, it just kind of feels like, how long are they going to let this go? Because the defense is extremely valuable, and he will win a platinum glove if he plays a full season at some point in the major leagues. That's not even a bold take, in my opinion. And we've said that all offseason. But it's a matter of, the ball is only going to get hit to him so many times, right? And it is valuable when it does get hit there. But right now, I mean, the only ball that's really been of note was the one yesterday that Marsh didn't get to, that Rojas definitely would have gotten, but he wasn't even in for that one. And unfortunately, that's really the only ball that's made an impact, and you have to make an impact at the plate. And what Marsh has done, for one, he makes that throw from center field yesterday to gun the guy down. Great throw. And 2, what he's done at the plate has far outweighed the one mistake he made in center field yesterday. So yeah, Marsh is going to have those plays in center field. Those do happen from time to time with him. It just feels like he doesn't get the best reads all the time, but he's a very above average center fielder. And at this point, you got to think about maybe going him center field and Witt left field. Now, Witt hasn't looked great so far, but he's a professional hitter. He's going to be fine over the course of the season. My concern there is just, you get to a point where you signed Witt so that he wasn't going to have to play every single day. And if you do send Rojas down, you're probably looking at Witt playing more than you plan for him to. Pache is going to play from time to time for sure. He'll mix in, but he's really a platoon for Marsh at the end of the day. Witt at that point would have to play most of the games. At least that's how I envision it. So I don't think at that point, I just don't think they're going to spend the money on a Tommy Pham. I think they'd rather wait till the deadline, honestly. And they've saved some money. I don't think they want to shell it out to Tommy Pham unless it's really cheap. But he's still out there, and he's a really good major league hitter. For what he is, you know what you're getting out of Tommy Pham. He doesn't strike out a whole lot, in my opinion. He works professional at bats. He gets walks. He's not a great left fielder, but he'll be out there for you, and he's not going to be a complete negative out there. Professional baseball player, and I know he's older, but you sign him to a 1-year deal for cheap. I don't know. I don't think they're going to do that, but I just feel like it's something you could come to regret, as you did last year for not trading for him at the deadline too, after he goes to the D-backs and pitches very well. So I know I went on a little bit of a tangent there, but I don't know. That's been on my mind a good bit the past couple of days.
Yeah, I actually kind of envision it a little bit differently than you, surprisingly. Okay. But I think if they send Rojas down, they're going to play Pache every day for maybe a week and see what he can do, and give him that real opportunity to show them that he can hit lefties or hit righties, or he can't. I mean, I think they're going to kind of do what they did to Rojas and just give him that opportunity, because, I mean, his defense out there is just as valuable as Rojas, honestly. And I think they do want to see what they have in him. And like you said, they don't want to overexpose Witt and overplay him, because I think that's their plan, at least, because they said about him breaking down on him his body breaking down on him a little bit last year, because he played pretty much every game the first half. And then in the second half, he just kind of collapsed.
Right. Yeah. I think my counterpoint to the Pache thing would be, I like Pache a lot, and I really liked, even right when we traded for him too, I was a big fan of him. So I don't want this to come off as I don't think Pache can become something, because he was a top prospect at one point. I just worry, I think he has the ability to get hot in spurts for sure. I could see him absolutely grabbing that job from the jump and getting hot, at least for the first couple of weeks of having that job, if that's what they decide to do. And I think that's a good point. I do think they could put Pache in center and Marshall left, at least for a week or so, like you said. I could absolutely see that happening, with Witt mixed in here and there, obviously. But I just wonder, over the full course of a season, is Pache going to hit well enough to warrant that defense out there? Because I think his defense is certainly Gold Glove caliber. I think it is a tick down from Rojas, but I think what made Rojas so special was that he really only needed to hit 230 to warrant that defense out there. And I wonder if Pache can hit at a high enough level to warrant it. I think he possibly could. I'm just not willing to commit to saying he definitely could do that. So I do have some concerns there. I'd be interested to see. I would love if they did that, honestly, especially at this point in the season. I think that's the right time to do it too. Like, you're in April right now. There's no harm in that. I just worry like it could go well at the start, and then does it go well over the full course of the season as they, pitchers start to learn more about him. And obviously maybe he goes back to some of his old tendencies. I don't know. That's my concern with him though.
Yeah, I mean, that's totally fair. I mean, he's not been a major league hitter in the past, and I don't think it's not unreasonable to assume that he's not going to he's going to just flip a switch and be, a 250 hitter whenever he was a career like under the Mendoza line hitter. I mean, it's definitely not unfair to assume that for sure. I mean, well, I guess we'll see, because that's probably what's going to happen if they send Rojas down. They'll probably give him a little bit of a chance and see what happens. But I think we're kind of falling into the trap of assuming that they're going to send Rojas down immediately. But I think they'll probably give Rojas another. Yeah, I think they'll give him another week or two just to see what happens. And I don't know. Guess we'll see.
Do you think he gets a hit before he gets sent down?
Oh, man, I don't know. I mean, he was at least putting the ball in play a little bit tonight, so I guess that was kind of good to see. So he'll probably get one eventually. Bad bit luck,
Yeah, I think he's probably gonna. I think I'll say he gets an infield single before he gets sent down, but I think that's probably it, because all the contact has just been so weak so far. Even last year, like in the regular season, and maybe it's just there's more of a book on him at this point, but I mean, I think he ran into enough pitchers that weren't playoff caliber pitchers from non-contenders that he was able to do damage. And, the Reds may very well end up being a wild card team this year. I could totally see that. And maybe he'll do better as we go into an easier part of the schedule here, but I just don't foresee what's happening now against better pitching changing if he plays the whole season, plays better against worse competition, and proves himself to be decent enough. I don't see that changing once you get to the playoffs. And I hope they don't fall into that trap of, oh, well, he got better as the season went on, and we're expecting him to a different result by the playoffs because he got better as the season went on. Like, I just don't think that's something that's going to be fixed in the major leagues. I think it's something that needs to be worked on in the minor leagues. And I'm not opposed to him coming back at some point this year. And if he proves himself, I don't think that'd be a bad thing. But the big thing a lot of people mentioned was, well, you don't want to send his confidence, that you don't want to ruin his confidence by having him start the year in AAA. Well, you also don't want to ruin his confidence if he can't get a hit at the major league level to start the year either. So at some point you have to pull the trigger and just say, all right, it's not working out. I think we're probably going to end up talking about that for the next week or so. Like you said, it's not going to happen immediately, but it's going to happen in my opinion at some point. You can't continue like this.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, honestly. It's tough to say that because I don't want to just give up on him, but
I like him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the work ethic. I mean, he's out there every day trying to get better. But I mean, I don't think sending him down is gonna ruin his confidence. I don't think he's that kind of guy. But I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, some guys when they get demoted, they just kind of go into a shell and they never come out of it. I mean, I guess we'll see. But I mean, yeah, I think we're beating the dead horse at this point on that.
Yeah, and just to cap that off, like I think it's going to get to a point very quickly here where his confidence will almost shoot up when he goes down, because he's not going to have the pressure on him. He's not going to be thinking, overthinking things, hopefully, and he's not going to face the same caliber of pitching. It'll still be guys who are trying to get back into the big leagues or guys who are trying to work their way up to the big leagues. It'll still be very good pitching, but yeah, it's going to benefit him at this point. And I would guess Cody Clemens will probably be the guy who comes up at that point. Look, I mean, he's off to a good start in AAA, and I would love if he did something to contribute to the major league team. But I don't know. There's something. I think it's just the fan base. Sometimes they call for him to come back up way too much. Over the past year, it's just been a little too much for me, to where I'm like, all right, well, I know I'm going to hear something if Cody Clemens, if he gets a home run at the major league level, I'm going to hear something about it. But it's like, I don't know. I feel like some people expect him to come up and be an answer for the team. That's just not what he is. He's a body until they got someone else at the trade deadline. So that's what you can expect from him. No disrespect to him. He seems like a perfectly fine guy. Like, I don't have any beef with him, but I don't know. I just wanted to put that out there and cool the Jets on that in case he does get hot when he comes up here. He's not going to be playing that much, but I mean, guys got hurt last year though. He ended up playing some games, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, he'll hit a home run here and there in the major leagues. I mean, everybody that's in AAA has the potential to come up and do something in the MLB. I mean, it's not like they're there for no reason. So,
Right.
but like you said, he's not like some kind of major league star, like super utility player where he's going to come up and play every position and hit 250. I mean,
He's
it's
not
just
Brock Holt. Let's
yeah,
pull the brakes on that.
yeah. He's not no Johan Camargo, you know.
Yeah, that guy had a hot streak to start his Philly career for sure.
He definitely did.
Unfortunately, while blocking stopped from getting playing time, but it is what it is. Girardi days, we're past that now. That said, though, I mean, on Cody Clemens too, like he's a guy who, if someone goes down, he has the potential. We saw last year to get hot over a week or two. And from those guys, that's all you need. I'm not asking for anything more than that, so I'm perfectly fine if that happens. But should we get to a few of these comments? I think we've pretty much talked about everything in the game. The only other thing I would mention on the game is I thought Ashcraft was very, very solid for them tonight. I mean, he was in the conditions too. I want to give him credit where credit's due. I thought he pitched well. So I don't know, someone to keep an eye on. And I mean, Will Benson had that incredible catch to rob Harper. Harper should have been 4 for 4 tonight. That was an incredible catch. I think that had a 380 expected batting average, which I was surprised it wasn't higher than that. He made an incredible play on that. I'd love to see what the catch probability was there. And Spencer Steer, man, what the heck? Like, that guy he was good last year too, but 3 for 4 tonight. That guy's on a heater right now to start the season out. Even when the rest of the lineup cooled off, he was totally fine tonight. So
that's my fantasy baseball king right there.
There you go.
Starting him every night.
Yeah. My buddy sat him last night, and he had the grand slam. So unfortunate for him. But let's get to a few of these comments here. I was a big Johan Camargo guy too, sir. I mean, I understood he wasn't a long-term piece, but I thought maybe he could be a utility guy. So miss that guy, but I'm also glad he's not blocking Stott anymore. So Jonathan, welcome in. Good to see you in here, buddy. Rojas's pitch recognition is terrible, he says. Yeah, I mean, that pretty much sums it up. And I think we talked about it in the offseason. I know I talked about it a lot. That was something that was just going to have to get better with live game reps. And I don't know. It's a short sample size. I just don't know. Even through that sample size, I don't know if I see it getting much better as the season progresses. So.
Yeah, we saw him swing straight through a 94-mile-an-hour fastball right down the middle tonight. I mean, if you aren't even making contact with that, you are doing something terribly wrong. So.
Yeah, and the first at bat, he swung at a slider, struck out. And then I think his last at bat was 90 on a sinker, like right down the pipe, and he didn't even get out of the infield. So there's some real problems there with the approach to the plate. But we knew that coming into tonight. So Sixers win. Love to see that. That's huge. Embiid comes back tonight, and it's going to be a night you remember. Harper comes back and Embiid comes back. Obviously different circumstances there, but ring that bell tonight. Love to see it. Star Wars, welcome in. Sir's with us. He thinks Rojas should be sent down. And he's with you. He thinks Pache will be very valuable when he plays. And no one will be happier than us, I think. I mean, you and me both love Pache. If he plays well, I mean, I think my excitement would be through the roof if he did end up coming in and taking that job. The thought of that with like you said, the defense is right there. The thought of that is very, very exciting. I will admit.
Yeah, him and Rojas are very comparable when it comes to their defense. I mean, Rojas is obviously probably the best defender in baseball whenever he's playing, if we're being really honest. I mean, maybe Nolan Arenado is a little bit better, but I mean, I think he's fallen off a little bit at this point. I mean, Rojas is a special player, obviously, out there. But, I mean, Pache, I mean, he was phenomenal his entire minor league career. And then even when he got called up, his defense never faltered. So,
yeah. And Jeremy, on the same topic, says, I like Witt slotted in, but there's no need to force him into the lineup over Marsh or Stott on random days. And, that's just what's going to happen. I think Stott, the way I'm trying to view it with him is just getting him days off when it makes sense, especially versus tougher lefties. I'm cool with that. Marsh, it's going to happen more often because you just know, like, they just don't trust him against the lefties for whatever the reason. Not for whatever the reason. Obviously, we know the reason. He hasn't hit well against them, but I think he has progressed over the past couple of years against lefties. He's not a complete black hole against them, but over a larger sample size, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is more of a detriment in that regard. So that is nice that you have Witt to help with that too. So I don't know. I mean, I'm okay with it over Marsh at certain times, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the one day that Stott was off, they were playing against the Braves, and it was Chris Sale, and no teams let their lefties face Chris Sale. It's just the way it is, unfortunately. He's tough on lefties, and I mean, Stott could probably hang with him. I mean, he's pretty good against lefties, but I mean, it just makes sense this early in the season. Just get him the day off against it's extremely tough lefties. So.
Right. Yep.
Like you said.
Yeah. Jonathan says, I'd almost like to see Rojas try bunting left-handed. It couldn't be worse. I mean, it really couldn't at this point. Like, it's bad. I don't know how I get it. It's major league pitching. I'm not trying to say bunting at the major league level is easy, but there's clearly issues with just the way he tries to bunt too. Like, he's not even doing it fundamentally to where it's, it's going to either pop up or go foul every single time the way he's holding the bat, at least in my opinion. I'm sure they've tried to work with him on it, but I would have preferred he spent a little more time on that in the offseason than maybe the weightlifting and all that. I'm not trying to that wasn't a diss or anything. Like, I just wish he would have worked a little bit more on that because it doesn't look like he has. Maybe he did, and it's just in game is just really tough for him. But also on that note, really odd that Stubbs was not able to get the bunt down tonight and popped it up. Like, really rare bad bunt for him. So hopefully that's just a one-off thing. Like, I don't expect Stubbs is an awesome bunter, so I don't expect that to happen anymore. But yeah, that was odd.
Yeah. I don't really have anything to add on that. I mean, like you said, it doesn't really seem like he did much in this offseason as far as bunting goes because it's just more of the same.
Yeah, and that's one of the easiest ways a guy like him could get on base too. So
no doubt, yeah.
Yeah. Sully says, welcome in, Sully, by the way. Says Marsh just has to be an everyday guy. I'm fully convinced he can have 20 bombs, steal 30 bags. He might even be all-star material. We'll see. I mean, I don't know if I'm that high on Marsh. I think he's a really, really solid player for this team, and I'm okay with him not playing every single day, but I would like to see him play a little bit more than getting benched every time against lefties. So I'm with you there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he should play every single time they face a lefty because there's some extremely tough lefties out there. And like Chris Sale, I mean, you don't play him against Chris Sale. That's just not what you do. But, I mean, I wouldn't say it'd be all-star material. Being an all-star in the outfield in the NL is extremely difficult because, I mean, there's so many good ones. I mean, Acuna, like Betts. I mean, I guess Betts doesn't play up there anymore, but last year, I mean, it's just, yeah, Marsh is a great player. And there's value in him being partially a platoon guy because he hits extremely well against right-handed pitching, and even if he's a little bit if he's bad against lefties, that's fine. I mean, you can play him against lefties, but just don't do it every single time.
Yep, yeah, I think we're in agreement there. And I do have to say, like, Garrett Stubbs, I mean, he got hit right in the groin. That, like, literally the fourth pitch of the game. Yeah, that's mad props, man. Like, it doesn't matter if you're wearing a cup or not at that point. Like, it's going to hurt even if you have a cup on for that. So credit to him, man. I mean, mad props. I have a ton of respect for him for finishing that game. That was incredible. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, it seems like every time he plays, he gets hit like in the groin or something like that, or takes one right off the face.
Yeah. He takes a beating even in the short amount of games he plays each year. So
he needs that week to recover after he plays one game.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, a lot of people saying they liked what they saw from Turnbull too. Got a number of comments on him, and yeah, with the umpire tonight, I mean, he was all over the place. For Turnbull to have 7 Ks, that was very impressive for sure. So, number of comments there on Turnbull too. Harper carrying the team's back was sore in a good way tonight. Absolutely, I did see him wearing a pad, like a heating pad type of thing, walking around the dugout at the end. So that was interesting. Something to just stash in the memory for a little bit. That could be brought up at some point this year. Hopefully not, but.
When he was off the other day, he had that thing on. I saw him sitting there toying with like the controls on it whenever he's sitting on the bench. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure his back's hurting. I mean, he's not going to tell you that, but his back's hurting. It's just the way it is.
Definitely, yeah. And Sully says this is just who Casty is. He'll be bored, and then he'll have a heroic month on and off. And we have to hope his moments win us some big games. I don't know, like we've seen him have bad months, and it has been pretty hopeless. But I don't know if I've ever seen him, and maybe it's just because it's the start of the season and I'm over exaggerating, but it looks like even when he's swinging at pitches that are in the zone, it looks like he's completely fooled, and they don't look like I haven't seen too many competitive swings from him at all this year so far.
No, and I was going to say this earlier when we were talking about Rojas, but like obviously the quality of contact is not the same, but Rojas is putting up better at bats than Castellanos right now. I mean, that's how bad he is. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah, and just to carry over from the NLCS last year, you had Casty obviously got that home run to start the series in game 1, but that was his only hit in the series, and Rojas had 2. So when we're talking about those 2 guys in the same offensive vicinity, that's not a good thing.
Yeah, one guy's making league minimum, the other one's making $20 million a year. So
yeah.
Yikes.
You kind of wish Schwarber had that extra year on his contract rather than Castellanos at this point. But, I mean, at that point, Schwarber was kind of seen as the consolation prize of the 2, and Castellanos was seen as the bigger get, which is crazy to say now, but I mean, Castellanos was almost an MVP the year with the Reds. It was just he was on the Reds, so he wasn't going to get
Yeah,
it. But
man, what a
disappointing.
downfall he's had from what he was a couple years ago. It's pretty brutal.
All we can do is hope that in a month or two from now, we're looking back at talking about him like this at the start of the year and regretting it. But I mean, I think that's what we're hoping. But I just don't know if I see that happening right now. It's pretty hopeless with the way he's coming right now.
Yeah, he's like the Connor Brogdon of the lineup at this point.
Yeah, just like you said, making a lot more than those guys. But Sir says starting pitching has looked good except for Nola. He asked if we think he'll bounce back. I think he's going to bounce back in his next start. I mean, I think he's going to have a good year. I think it was first start. I'm not concerned about him.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say anything about Nola's first start because I mean, think about how many times he's faced those Braves hitters, and the Braves are an extremely, extremely good offense. I mean, probably the best in the MLB, honestly, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the Dodgers can compete with them, but they're extremely good, and they've seen them so many times. It's just kind of like it is what it is. He's going to get them sometimes. He's going to got sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good way to put it. And yeah, the only other thing was I think we kind of talked about Connor Brogdon already. Like he got sent down. It's for the best. Star Wars commented that. And yeah, Kyle, the singles guy now. I mean, 5 singles and 1 home run to start the year? I don't think anyone had that on the Bringo card. So
known contact hitter, Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah, he really hasn't struck out that many times. I mean, it's been pretty impressive. So that'll shut people up for a little bit, and then they'll start complaining about something else with him. But that's just how Kyle Schwarber fandom goes. But we're not going to be Schwarber babies on this podcast. We love him. We believe in him no matter what. Yeah. So anything else you wanted to talk about, Drew? I feel we covered a lot. I mean, I think we covered everything in the game tonight. And rubber match tomorrow with Wheels, and then I don't know.
Frankie Montas.
Montas on the mound. Okay. Yep. Got it. So the game got pushed to 4:05, so it will be an afternoon game. So, yeah, I mean, that's all I really got. I'm excited for tomorrow. It should be a good one.
Absolutely. Yep. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, both guys with no ERA this year. So that'll hopefully change tomorrow for one of them. But thank you guys for watching. We appreciate all y'all tuning in after a memorable game and a memorable night. So we'll talk to you guys tomorrow after the rubber match and hopefully the first series win of the year for the Phils. Fingers crossed. Thank you guys for watching. God bless y'all and peace out. Peace.